just drinking a glass of water. Behind a simple gesture lies the safety of checks and certified quality. This is the guarantee of a company that manages a plant created using Italian technology that is cutting edge in Europe and studied by the rest of the world. The purification plant in Arzignano was developed in the 70s to purify the municipal wastewater of about 40,000 people who live in the Chiampo Valley and the industrial sludge from around 160 tanneries. The tanneries are connected to the plant by 40 kilometres of dedicated sewers. The plant has a purification capacity for a city of 1.5 million inhabitants. It grew over time and is being constantly enlarged and modernised to improve its purification capacity and yield. All this is done following the development of industrial activity and in perfect line with environmental regulations. A certified laboratory, equipped with cutting-edge instruments, guarantees precise checks on the quality of the purified water, and also on the whole aqueduct network managed by Acque del Chiampo. The plant is divided into 2 treatment lines: a water line for separately purifying industrial effluent and municipal wastewater, a sludge line that treats the sludge coming from water purification. 2 types of sewage reach the water lines of the purification plant in Arzignano. Industrial sewage that comes from a sewage system specifically for tanneries and liquid refuse that is transported in tankers. Municipal sewage coming from another sewage system that collects the sewage from homes and other small industrial and artisan activities. The industrial line has several treatment phases, each one with a precise purpose. Coarse screens entrap material that is bigger than 6 millimetres. After this, the grit removal process eliminates sand and fine material before the water reaches the homogenization tanks. These 5 circular tanks have a cover to contain the odour, which, when drawn and treated, is turned into sulphur for agriculture. Here, the sewage is accumulated and made uniform, and is then pumped regularly into the primary sedimentation tanks, where the heavy solids, called sludge, deposit on the bottom. After being scraped by specific machines, the sludge is collected in hoppers on the bottom of the tanks and placed in the sludge treatment line. The water is then pumped to the biological treatment phase and into a series of tanks up to 11 metres deep that contain millions of microorganisms. These microorganisms break down the polluting substances in the sewage, a process called activated sludge, and transform them into carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and dissolved salts. Large compressors pump air into the tanks to allow the organisms to breathe and proliferate. The microorganisms are separated from the purified water in 4 circular tanks by the flotation process, during which the biological sludge floats on the surface. The sludge is then collected and a part is returned to the biological tanks. Another part finishes in the thickener at the start of the sludge line. The purified water is then sent to the clariflocculation unit, where it is completely clarified using chemical reagents. The municipal waste line has several treatment phases that operate in the same manner as those in the industrial line. The first steps are coarse screening and grit removal. There are also 3 tanks for collecting first flush water, where the water from the sewers and also rainwater from roads are accumulated. When it rains heavily, the water dilutes to the point that a part can be discharged directly into the river without being accumulated further. The most polluted first flush water is treated later, after it's stopped raining. The water is treated biologically and is then directed towards the final sedimentation area. The treated municipal water is then combined with the treated industrial water for the last process, which is clariflocculation. The purified water is sent to the sewage collector managed by Arica, which also collects water from plants in Trissino, Montecchio-Maggiore, Montebello and Lonigo. The water is collected and disinfected using ultraviolet rays to then be discharged into the river Tognafrata near Cologna Veneta, Verona. The sludge treatment line is divided into 2 additional lines: the dehydration line and the drying and cogeneration line. The purpose of the dehydration line is to reduce the volume of sludge produced by purification as much as possible using separation. The large quantity of water in the sludge is mechanically squeezed, transforming the sludge from a liquid to a solid state. This operation is carried out using filter presses and centrifuges after the addition of chemical reagents to favour water release. After dehydration, the sludge is heated to evaporate almost all the water it still contains. The result is sludge with a 10 to 15% humidity content and a grainy or powdery appearance. This material is then packed in big bags, which are disposed of in landfills.